Thank you for tuning in to this frequency. I am what you would understand as some of the most ancient of the choral kind, existing on your world for millions of years, radiating some of the primordial feminine energies of your Mother Earth to the oceanic beings that exist. These beings are deeply connected to various elements of existence. These oceanic creatures, the squid, the octopi, the fish, the whales, the dolphins, all represent to you what you would understand as off-world beings, multidimensional beings. This has much to do with the idea that they literally exist on your world but are largely unseen because of the water barrier that separates you as surface dwellers from these aqueous types of organisms. I have, and my kind has, for millions upon millions of years, sent Earth Mother's energy to many of these beings, which come from different places within your universe altogether. Many of the beings, the whales and the dolphins, were migratory beings that made their way to Earth at specific periods of time when the Earth's vibration became harmonious for them and a signature frequency match for them. As a result, the red coral was in many ways birthed to allow for these beings to have a much more gentle integration into the Earth framework. The red coral allows for the primordial life force and the blood energy that flows through all of you to be able to be tapped into in a much more direct way. This energy that comes from your blood is tied into your stem cells, which is the raw creative force of your being, and it is, again, the earth and the elements around you that influence the stem cells, that influence the growth of your body. So our energy works to connect all beings to that blood essence of earth, to that divine energy. It allows for all of these beings to remember their connection to earth. Red coral, as you would understand our kind, also works on your surface because it radiates to each of these animals. And when you eat them, when you see them in your aquariums or in the wild, you are connecting to us. All coral in general sends out, like radar, psychic waves that reach each of these animals and then allows for them to carry the Earth's vibration. The coral families, as well as these animals in the oceans, then charge the water, which has living memory. This water is then taken up by your atmosphere, and it goes into the cloud forms, where it is then programmed by the intelligence of the sun and the stars. This then spills over and rains all over your earth, connecting all beings, plant, fungi, insect, human, with these cosmic energies, as well as these primordial ocean energies. The water in general, to each of you, represents the idea of mystery and the unknown. It is why so many of you have desires to sail, to go on adventures, and to voyage. It also represents the elements of purification and healing. When you connect with water, you are connecting with life. And not just that, you are connecting with primordial life, original life. And it is us, the red coral kind, that is able to tune you back in very quickly from working with us to that primordial life force of Earth. Harmonizing with our frequencies allows for you to have deep remembrances and prolonged states of peace. And that is because even though there is much turmoil and chaos on your surface, the Earth is still in a state of peace. Even amongst all of her unique challenges as a multi-dimensional planetary celestial being, she still goes through challenges. And much of her learning experiences are understood through all of you on the surface, Because understand, you are all microcosmic expressions of the macro consciousness of Earth. So as you tune into the primordial force of Earth, you are connecting with your mother, who is able to maintain frequencies of peace. Because that is her underlying vibration, aside from unconditional love. It is unconditional, undying peace. And her evidence of that is the fact that she allows for both light and dark situations to exist on her simultaneously, and she does so without judgment. And this is one of the greatest lessons for each of you. Many of you identify with the title of a light worker or a light being, but the idea is that many of you have been trained through different activist groups, programming groups, media groups, and all types of different influences to become dogmatic with your belief systems of saying, oh, I am part of the light, and therefore I must hate the dark, I must attack the dark, I must destroy the dark. And understand, when you go into that vibration, you are matching the vibration of the dark energy you so much wish to remedy. So it is by connecting with this primordial life force of Earth that you are then able to see the darkness in a neutral way and understand that because you are all made of the Earth, you are all natural healers. Many of you may feel, oh, I don't have a healing ability, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an energy healer, I'm not an herbalist or an ethnobotanist. How could I possibly be a healer? Understand, all your body does is heal. Every change in your body that happens to you is literally an adaptive change your body turns on in an attempt to remedy and resolve a situation it is going through. For those of you that feel, oh, I have this disease or I have this problem, understand that disease manifestation is your body attempting to heal. And if you identify with yourself as this diseased person, this sick person, you are actually taking your frequency and you're identifying with a temporary condition rather than an underlying reality. And this underlying reality is the natural healer within you. That is the Earth consciousness. Because the Earth, as you notice, is always growing, is always expanding, is always healing. And you are made of her. And therefore you are always doing the same thing. For many of you, when you are charged in this idea of polarity, many diseases can begin to emerge, especially if this type of polarity and judgment extends into your lifestyle. For example, you consider yourself to be a spiritual person, but you continue to poison your body with certain substances. This is actually part of that charge in polarity, the poisoning of the body. And this has to do with you wanting to compensate for something, you wanting to remedy something, even the addiction or the choice to do something harmful for your physical vessel is actually a call for healing. And the idea is when you can drop that polarized charge and go into a sacred neutral perspective, you can observe whatever challenge you're going through, whether it be an addiction, whether it be a choice to indulge in something harmful for your vessel. You can then witness it neutrally and look at it and say, what is the underlying mechanism here? What in me is actually asking to be healed? Because remember, many of your chronic diseases, your addictions, your illnesses are that healing mechanism actually being modified by the belief systems of the person in a way that causes them to be inflammatory or damaging or counterproductive. But if the charge and polarity can be dropped, whatever condition a person has can then be observed from the sacred neutral perspective. And as that primordial essence is then more deeply tapped into, a person can then look at that and get better clarity on what actually needs to be healed and what the actual remedy is. But you will find the first remedy, and really the only remedy, the primary remedy, is going into that realm of becoming a peacemaker and peacekeeper on Earth through tuning into that natural peace energy that the Earth is always generating. You think of your technology as always generating an electromagnetic field. Your bodies are always generating these fields, constantly. And within these fields of electricity are information, constantly being pulsed, constantly being emitted. And the idea is that Earth is the same thing. And she utilizes those vibrations of unconditional love and peace as her undying message to all of her children and all of her kind on the surface populations, as well as those that live underground or in your oceans, or those that fly in your atmospheres, such as the birds. This message is always being broadcasted. Many of you are in a position where the dogma within you has become so strong, and the beliefs have become so strong, and the mind has become so overactive that you do not hear this message that your very cells are giving to you. When you spend time away from nature, and in particular time away from the bodies of water, be it oceans or lakes or ponds or streams or rivers, you're actually putting yourself in a position where these energies are not going to be as readily accessible for you. So for those of you that say, I wish to understand the message of peace, I wish to understand Earth's primary message to me at this time, go to these locations, go to hot springs, go to any location where you are connected to natural bodies of water. Because all water is connected, and all water is connected to us, the red coral, pulsing our undying messages to all of creation. We communicate with each of you, always, 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 always. Your mind may not be aware of it because of any type of clouding that may exist, but your body is aware of it. This is why your body heals, because it is aware of this message. Even when the mind is so clouded that it says, I can only perceive the chaos or the turmoil that I am experiencing, your body says, I am readily receiving this message, and I'm going to go into remedy and resolve and healing at all times. And I will do so, even at the expense of this healing manifesting in a slightly dysfunctional way for the person. Because even that slightly dysfunctional way is still communicating that message. And if they have a mind to be aware and ears to listen, and hands and nervous systems to sense, they will one day become aware of what within them needs the remedy and resolve. And this will allow for many of you to overcome your various health challenges. And it is this underlying message of peace from the earth that will be your greatest healer. The earth manifests all types of substances, foods, plants, esoteric technologies that will also facilitate your healing. But remember, they are all secondary. The primary one is peace. For should you engage in a healthy diet or healthy herbs or drugs or whatever you use as your means of healing, if that primary message of peace is not within you, the healings will only be temporary. Because eventually, the charge and polarity will resurface, and that type of endeavor can crumble or reach a limiting factor. So the idea would be to go into that realm of peace and work with it undyingly. When you're in your relationships and you're in a situation of conflict, ask yourself, how can I be peaceful here? How can I make peace, even with those that have no desire to make peace? How can I make peace with that reality? You might not have to make peace with the person, but how can you make peace with that situation and still be in a position to accept them and accept the reality despite its turmoil and chaos? Remember, all types of adversity and challenge and seemingly unbeatable odds have been faced by your ancestors. And your ancestors were able, many of them, to overcome it and learn. And it is for that reason that the human population continues. Because you are adaptive, you are intelligent, you are learning, you are expanding, you are growing. And remember, you have infinite layers to be able to tap into for assistance that is stored within your very DNA. For your DNA houses the code of not only how your mind can work, but also how your body will work. Because remember, your mind and body are the exact same thing. There is no difference. You make the distinctions and say, oh, this is the body and my mind exists here in my brain, but this is an artificial, arbitrary boundary being created. The mind is the body. The body is the mind. So understand, when you see disharmony in the body or in the body's behaviors or cravings or preferences or habits or whatever, that is always a message of what's happening in the mind, what's happening in the spirit, what's happening in the energy. And the underlying message of peace will guide you through that. Remember to go to the bodies of water for the messages of peace and of deep healing. For those of you that feel so inclined, you can psychically connect with the red coral. We are direct links to that peace. We program the oceans with that peace. We remind all creature kind of that peace. So work with us psychically or visit us in person. We are happy to help. We are your deepest connection to the deepest levels of earth consciousness available to you on the surface. And working with us will show you levels of peace that may be so far into your being that when you fully tap into them, you may say to yourself, I didn't even realize this way of living was possible. Because as we've said, your societal structures cloud that from you. But when you connect with us, we are so deeply connected to it, we will help you to override all of that programming very quickly. Sleep with us, meditate with us, spend time with us, connect with us psychically. We will help your body to change in so many ways. We will help your beliefs to change in so many ways. And we will show you this. We will come to you in your dreams should you sleep with us. We will help your cells to understand healing on a deep level. And we will activate the parts of your DNA that understand peace as the fundamental language of earth consciousness. This is our primary message to you at this time. We will now give a secondary message to you. And this is relating to all of the beings that exist within your oceans. You have so much teacher energy in your oceans. You are at a very unique point in time where your technologies allow for you to view in the deepest parts of your ocean. And what you're able to realize there is that there is insane amounts of symbiosis that takes place between so many different creature kind within these oceans. You have organisms that are cleaned by other organisms. You have some beings that are utilizing powers that would literally blow your mind should you actually investigate them. There are certain creatures in your oceans with measurable, observable abilities that can radically inspire your own abilities here on the surface. You have some organisms that can change color, flash lights. You have some beings that are able to actually generate such a level of force when they impact other beings. Light is spontaneously generated because of the intensity of the impact. You have beings that are spontaneously creating light. You have beings that are able to blend in with their environments. You have beings that are housing other organisms. They live within them. And they spend time together, growing together, learning together. Your oceans are your master teachers, for they are deeply connected to the message of peace. And you can learn so much through connecting with these organisms. Spending time, even near fish, whether it be in an aquarium or swimming in natural waters, will tune you into this. You can take moments to psychically tune in to what those frequencies are of the fish, what those frequencies are of the dolphins. Listen to their noises. Even if it is just a recording, play these sounds and meditate upon them while going deep into your heart space. For your beating heart is connected to the beating heart of Earth. And as you listen to the whale sounds, the dolphin sounds, the ocean sounds, and you feel your beating heart, imagine the red coral or hold the red coral and bring this deeply into your heart space. And you will get the message of peace loud and clear. For those of you, it may bring up levels of healing, things within you that need remedy and resolve. But whatever comes up, don't fight it. Don't fight it. Because that's part of the dogma and the charge and the polarity, to see something that needs to be healed and saying, I'm going to fight this thing. I'm going to beat it into healing. No. Listen to it. Because when you feel that discomfort, when you feel that resistance, when you feel that blockage, you are feeling your mind. You are feeling your spirit. So to send hate to it or resistance to it, even if it is painful, is going to be creating the situation where you create conflict within your own being. Go into this with openness. For your own healing is the single most important thing on earth right now. For if the dysfunction remains alive and is not remedied or resolved, that dysfunction will carry into your actions, into your beliefs, your perspectives, your interactions with animal kind, dream beings, human beings. And it only perpetuates that possibility towards others of saying, I am in dysfunction and I'm not addressing it, perhaps because I don't know how, so I'm going to stay in this dysfunction. So if you stay in that level without a desire to heal it or attempts to heal it, you will be broadcasting only that reality to those around you. And understand, you create your reality based off of which you're broadcasting. And the experiences you manifest will be a signature frequency match for that level of conflict. And it will create limitation in the types of experiences you can bring into yourself on a daily basis. But should you choose to have even the slightest amount of openness, the slightest amount of acceptance, and the slightest amount of love, even if the conditions stay cumbersome or intense, you will shift your frequency in a way that will allow for your experiences on earth to be lighter, to be more open, to be more of a signature frequency match for peace. And the more you make peace in your own bodies, in your own minds, the more you will bring that peace into all that you experience. This is something many creatures on your world experience. Think about how rapidly animals can heal when they are in nature. Think about the regeneration that takes place in some of your creature kind. A tail can be severed and it can regrow. Think about that for a moment. An animal can lose a limb and regrow the whole limb. Pure regeneration. Pure regeneration. Remember, you're always regenerating. You're always changing. And how you change will be reflective of the signature frequency match for whatever you are. Be this message for peace. Be this message for healing. We thank you for tuning in to the message of the red coral. We breathe for you. We emanate for you. We emanate for all creature kind, for we are the extension of Earth's blood and her sacred heartbeat. Go to us in your dreams if you wish to learn the ways of Mother Gaia. For she is a master teacher, for she is all of you. She is every organism here. Remember, the earth is your home, but so much more than just a home. The earth is your macro. Let her energy flow through you. Thank you, and our unconditional love on behalf of all that exists in Earth's realm.